Hello, this is Taste of Hope, and we're in the kitchen. I'm Katey, and this is Michael Clancy. He's with me, and I'm so excited to have you here. Michael is our board member at Hope. And so tell me about being a board member at Hope.
Well, I've been on the board for about 5 years now, and it's just such a great organization, and that's why I've stuck with it. And just the things that they're doing, helping other people effectively, which Hope stands for. Mm-hmm. And so it's been exciting to be a part of the team.
Awesome. Now, what did you do before Hope?
Well, actually, I was a business person here in town, ran Wilson Gas and Oil for a number of years.
Wow.
And finally, after Amoco left the Lancaster and heating oil business dried up, that we closed the business and now basically retired and able to help out organizations like Hope.
And what are some of your hobbies?
Well, are you surprised? One of my hobbies is beekeeping.
I love that shirt, by the way.
That's right. And it's fascinating to hear about all these particular insects, all of the things that they're able to do, communicate, and then the byproduct, of course, is they provide really good honey.
How did you become a beekeeper?
It was just sort of a lark, you know, that we might have heard different information about pollinators and the problem with honeybees, why honeybees actually pollinate 1/3 of the food that is eaten throughout the world.
Wow.
So if it wasn't for honeybees and pollinators, then we would have a problem eating.
Yes.
And in particular, one thing that I don't know if you knew, but almonds, the nut almonds, if it wasn't for honeybees, there would be no almonds.
Wow.
Now that's a strong statement to make, but actually they have no way to pollinate themselves, which would take a long time to explain how flowers pollinate themselves. So they actually bring millions of bees out and put them in all of the almond orchards every early spring in California. So they rent, these almond people rent these honeybees. So they'll come in there, they'll fly around, they'll pollinate the almond trees.
Wow.
And thus we have almonds today.
Isn't that something, you know, to our viewers, we just expect to go to the store and buy a pack of almonds, or almond milk, very popular right now. But without the bees, we would have none of that.
Right.
Wow. So a lot of times people ask me, what do you do with your honey? Because our house is never without honey. And I have some great friends that provide me with honey. And then there's some great locations where you buy local honey. And you can still buy some at the store. And we're going to go through that a little bit later. But people always say, what do you do with your honey? And so I'm amazed that some people just don't know how to incorporate it into, you know, their diet. But we're going to show you quite a few ways to incorporate honey into your diet. But before we get started on telling you how to use honey, we're going to see some video of the beekeeper and his bees and how honey's made.
Just walk away from it. Walk over here.
Smoking here. The reason we use smoke is because they communicate with pheromones, and this will sort of diffuse any type of pheromone hang out here. So I've got a screen over here, and if you want to come over and take a look before I open it up.
Wow, look at them.
So this is helping with ventilation. I've got a feeder over here and all of the frames. And so they're down there and they'll end up, and I'll show you the frames here, that they load up with nectar and with pollen.
Okay. So do they put nectar in one place and pollen in the other?
Yeah, because the pollen will be on the frame that's nearest the brood, because they make wheat bread out of that, and that's part of what they end up feeding to the young ones, the brood. And you can see that people are scared of bees, but here they are.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, they're not doing anything.
Oh, look at them. They're beautiful.
So you can see all of these small hexagonal.
Oh yeah.
That they end up coming in here and loading it up. And this one, if you are able to look close enough, you can see it's shiny, the liquid in there.
Yes.
And so that's where they've either been loading up the sugar water, or they found nectar. So since there's no flowers except for a goldenrod.
Wow. Now what are those other ones doing on that screen? They're just hanging out?
Here?
On this?
Oh no, that's just where they happen to be.
Gotcha.
they actually find out that they communicate or touch each other. They consistently throughout the entire colony. They've tried by putting an experiment on one bee. They put a little marker, and they found out in 24 hours everybody had that mark on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
so
wild.
So they touch each other all the time.
And they communicate by touching or by pheromones.
Wow.
The reason I'm doing this is because I want to make sure if we move a box over, I don't want the queen to get down in that lower box.
Oh, right. The nectar is yellow and the pollen's more orange. Is that right?
Well, the pollen will be different colors because pollen comes from different plants. But right there, you can see that it's sort of a golden.
Oh, yes.
Is where you might be able to see the liquid. Can you see shiny liquid in there? In some of these areas?
And why have they not capped it?
Well, because what they end up having to do, they reduce the water content down to 18.6%. And once they achieve that by fanning it, things like that, then they'll cap it over and seal it.
Oh, so they make it perfect. So what is she doing?
She's now, well, first of all, she's not used to the, now you see the queen, is running up that way. There we go.
How did you, what's the dot?
The dot is to help me find her amongst,
No, I know, but is it a
they put a little paint type thing.
paint? Okay.
There's a little pupil right there. You can see the little
It's white. So the egg is turned over, and it's up in that area right there. Actually, females. They're all worker bees. See, ladies rule in the colony too, just like elsewhere. And so, so the egg is laid dead center of the cell for 3 days as an egg. Then it starts switching over into a larva, and then day 7 it starts pupating, and it'll actually stand up. And day 10 they'll cap it over, and it'll spend the next 14 days under cap, and then actually it's 21, until day 21. So next 11 days for the female, and then she will emerge, and her first duty is to clean out her own cell.
Wow.
And
so their whole life is how long? How many days?
After they emerge, it'll be another 21 days.
Wow. So 42 days they live. So they're constantly making new brood to take care of the hive.
And that's the problem. If you lose the queen, you're in trouble.
And so your queen lays how many eggs a day?
Sometimes 1,200, 1,500 eggs a day.
Wow.
For her entire life.
And when do you harvest the honey? When everything is really full, that top section is full?
Yeah, there's a time, usually it's after what they call the flow, or you can think as spring, as we move into summer, that there's no more nectar, and so that's the time that you can determine exactly, okay, this is about all we're going to have in the colony. So we never want to take all the honey out, maybe about half of what's there, leave half for them, and then half to we can harvest.
And they eat the other half during the winter?
Yes.
Gotcha. So one of the first ways that I love to use honey, and even most recently because I've had a sore throat, is in my tea. So this is a nice lemon ginger tea, but would you get some of your wonderful honey over there? And all we're gonna do is add a little bit of honey to the tea. And you know, these herbal teas, they're not sweet. They have great flavor, you know, some of the herbs, maybe an orange or a lemon, but with a little bit of honey, it perfects it. Now, if you have a sore throat, do you ever do this?
Yeah, we have done this with it, but it has to have something sweet to go with the lemon.
Yes. So here's a cup of hot water. I put in a tablespoon or spoonful of lemon and honey, and I'm telling you, at night, if you have a little cough, and it's calming too, it's soothing before you go to bed, but just hot water, lemon and honey. Sometimes I'll throw in a little bit of ginger, but that's wonderful.
And that's actually with water, but where we've actually had it mixed just the lemon juice and honey, and spooned in just like if it was cough syrup. So it was just real soothing. So we enjoyed that.
Ah, love it. Yeah, very soothing on the throat. All right, our next little bit is honey butter. Now, if you have been to any kind of southern restaurant and they serve biscuits, sometimes they'll serve, or cornbread, they will serve it with a honey butter.
Hush puppies.
Hush puppies, yup. And so honey butter is easy to make. You don't have to melt the butter all the way down, but I did. But 1 stick of butter and 2 tablespoons of honey is your recipe that you start with. And that'll make a really nice honey butter. And then you kind of let that solidify a little bit, and then you could serve that with that could be any kind of fresh rolls, cornbread. Oh my goodness, honey butter is so good. It could be good on anything. The next one is avocado toast. Now, any kind of toast, honey is good on, right? Do you like peanut butter toast a little bit?
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, and the jelly, the little bit of honey, a little bit nicer.
Yes.
And where you might think avocado toast, that's a California thing, wait until you try it with some honey.
Oh
You'll
my
be sold on.
goodness. It's the creamy, the salty, the sweet. So all you need to do after you pull your avocado toast out is just drizzle that honey on it. And my goodness, you won't go back on that one. So peanut butter toast, even just a little bit of toast with butter and honey on it, wonderful.
We've got something with peanut butter coming up in a minute, so you wait and just check this out.
All right, and the next one this is just a plain vinaigrette. A lot of times you can get them. This is an olive oil vinaigrette. I like to go for the olive oils because they're a little bit healthier versus the soy or the canola. But it's nice to have this vinaigrette, but sometimes you want just a little bit of sweetness in your vinaigrette, and just a tablespoon of that honey will change that vinaigrette and add a little bit of sweetness to it. So if you wanted that for some type of salad, or even sweeten up a little pasta salad.
And a salad that would have some fruit in it, where it'd be a little bit sweeter that you might want, those strawberries, things like that, or peaches or something, then that would be really nice just to bring it around, I think.
Yes. Wonderful little idea there. Now, our energy bites. We love to make energy bites for our tiny chefs. And our energy bites usually include oats, chocolate bits, sometimes coconut, definitely peanut butter, and then we add
Onion.
So our energy bites are wonderful, healthy energy bites, and we love this for our tiny chefs in the kitchen. And then you can just roll these out and put them in the refrigerator or freezer to get them hard. And wonderful combination of sweet and grain, and give you the energy that you need, because this is sugar, right? I mean, this is sugar, but it's a natural sugar, so it has added benefits, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it definitely is the nectar from a flower that's been stored in the cell. They've reduced the amount of moisture in it, water, down 18.3% less moisture than they seal it over. And that makes honey.
It's amazing.
It's great.
So beautiful.
And we will end up posting on there exactly the ratio of how much of each ingredient to put in there. But
yes, we'll give you that recipe because our tiny chefs love the energy bites. I love the energy bites. All right, so next we're looking at the different honeys. So when I go to the grocery store, well, of course I don't see that because that is your particular honey. This was another friend that has a small hive in the area, and so she gave me that. She knows I love honey. This is something I brought at the grocery store, and I was curious about the raw and organic.
Well, that's weird because all honey is organic. There's nothing inorganic about it. Mm-hmm. It's the nectar from a flower, and so it's really just honey. So that's an interesting advertising gimmick. Just like them saying that it's raw. Well, if it was cooked, it wouldn't be honey anymore, because if you raise the temperature on honey, it starts mutating into something else. So
and that undoes the antibacterial, right?
Absolutely,
you would heat it up, right?
And so when they say it's unfiltered, it has to be filtered initially, because when they first harvest it, they'll take it out of the cells. There'll be little bits and pieces of wax. So they always filter it.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite
This
sure
is
why they
pretty
would put
clear.
filter on there. It's probably good honey, but it just seems to be advertising things that are obviously already true. But
Gotcha.
it grabs your eye, so watch out. Make sure
that
you
is
read the
so
label.
funny. You have to read labels. Now, what about this? This says it's a creamed honey, and I've noticed that sometimes when I let my honey sit a little bit too long or get a little bit cold, it kind of turns into this. Now, this says never heated and never filtered.
Right, and so it actually, again, like we spoke about, the honey would be filtered, but there is a way that you can make a creamed honey. There's a certain technique, which I'm not familiar with. I've never made it myself. But at our beekeeping club, there was a couple of the beekeepers that have actually done the process. But indeed, it's not heated and it's not filtered other than that initial filter, as I spoke of.
Gotcha.
Very good and spreads very nicely on toast.
Now, when it crystallizes and it gets cold, you could still eat it.
Yes,
That's
and if you just heat it up slightly, but never really heat it up. You might put it in some warm water, and in no time, the crystal will just go back to an actual liquid state.
Gotcha. And then we have some honey here. This is from Bee City, produced by Bee City in South Carolina. And I do look for honey in South Carolina when I have a choice, because I just like the local bees. Now, there's one here that's not here that I've heard a lot about, Manuka honey. And they've even talked about Manuka honey helpful with wounds.
Well, actually, all honey is antibacterial. So in the past, years and years ago, that if there was a cut out in the woods or anything like that, you could put honey over that, and that would seal it. And so it actually was helping with the healing process. So that was one thing that they discovered with honey. And of course, honey's been around since before the Egyptians.
Wow.
Yes, because they actually went inside there and they actually saw it written out in hieroglyphics and stuff. And there is some Egyptians getting a honey pot. So it's like, that's how long they've been around. They found pots of honey in the tombs with the pharaohs and stuff. So honey, it's good stuff.
That's
Lasts forever.
amazing.
But
now, what is it about these honeys? There's one here that's not really honey, may look like honey.
Beware of honey that you buy in grocery stores. They're loaded with high fructose corn syrup.
What was that all about?
well, as it turns out, if you look closely, it actually says right on here, a blend syrup.
Ah,
What blend? So when you look on the back, it says high fructose corn syrup.
oh my goodness.
So
and
it's
it looks-
actually a blend.
It's in a bare container and everything, but it's a fake.
Fake. And here's somebody who could tell you exactly that it's fake, an actual honeybee. So make sure you read the label, because you don't want corn syrup. You can put that on pancakes or something by themselves. This, you need to have the real McCoy.
We don't like that high fructose corn syrup here in the kitchen. All right, so our next one is yogurt. Now, when you go to the store, I don't know about you, but there's like 250 choices of yogurt. And I tend to look at the sugars because I don't want a yogurt that's super, super high in sugars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a plain yogurt, so I'm gonna get all the good probiotics in this yogurt, but I still want it a little sweet. I just don't want it the sweet that they give it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of honey to my yogurt. And then I could also add some fruit, some bananas, whatever kind that I want to put in my yogurt, and sweeten my own yogurt so I know what's in it.
Blueberries, drop some of them in there.
Oh, blueberries. Love blueberries in yogurt. So sweeten up your own. Buy the plain and sweeten up your own with your fruit and your honey. This is a combination to make your own barbecue sauce. And why not make your own barbecue sauce?
That's right.
When we buy things at the store, there's so many other ingredients in them. So Worcestershire sauce, honey, apple cider vinegar, lemon, and mustard, and make your own barbecue sauce. You can make it as sweet as you want, or just a touch of sweet. And we'll try and put that recipe on the website for that as well. And last but not least, flatbreads. I love flatbreads, and I don't know if you saw the video that we did with another board member, Berta.
Yes.
And we had wonderful flatbreads. We had usually a meat, we added a cheese, and then we put some fruit on there. And what a wonderful way to top your flatbreads after you pulled it out of the oven. A little drizzle of honey. Yeah, and honey has just so many benefits to it. Antibacterial, antifungal, has a lot of antioxidants in it. So find your local honey, or make some good choices at the grocery store, not this one, and enjoy your season of honey.